What is up, people? I'm here playing the modern RCQ on Magic Online, obviously. We won our first die roll. That's a good sign. You love to see that. That's a good hand. We'll keep that. And we'll just see how today goes. I'm not really the biggest competitive player. I don't think I'd fly all over the earth to play Magic. But we'll see how today goes. Mostly just looking to win some prize on Magic Online. Opponent fetches with the Wooded Foothills. I'm trying to get some YouTube subscribers in the chat. Opponent's taking a good long time to fetch up this land. What will they get? They fetched on their turn. Kind of doubt that it's Storm. This looks like probably either Energy or like Zoo. Alright, Temple Garden deck already. And they play a shock land on their turn. Strange. I need white mana, so I will get Meticulous. I think against a green-white player, I'm going to bin this Force of Negation. Just go ahead and shock that in. And I'm not going to send that message until it's really obvious what deck I'm playing. This could be like a mid-range deck still, from their perspective. Arena of Glory. Okay, this is looking like Naya Energy. I have played against some Naya Energy decks. Go ahead and use the Waker. Hopefully we get a lot of good stuff here. Yeah. I think I want the Endurance in hand. That's pretty nice. Now I could wait an extra turn and try to pick off something with Sky Turtle and have an absolutely humongous living end, but I think just putting the pressure in play is the wise move. Opponent could be leaving up Orim's Chant. They are not. And yeah, that's not the biggest living end, but it does put 11 power into play, and I can go again. I think I'd pitch this Sink into Stupor if I use Subtlety here. There, now that we've revealed. Opponent's land situation is, it looks like they just didn't have a very good hand, but they kept anyway. Godless Shrine, okay. Is this domain? Yeah, this is domain. Alright, let's just go ahead and top that. And I'm gonna leave my Ardent Plea in hand because sometimes you need to go off again against domain. I realize I have good attacks, but I didn't want to even give him a chance to do something next turn. Okay, against Domain Zoo, I like Foundation Breaker. On the draw, I don't know how much I like Teferi. I think I'll take out one Force for a Mystical. One Teferi. Waker seems kind of good against them. I usually take Waker out on the draw. Endurance seems a little bit less relevant. I think I'll sideboard like this. I'll just do Light Touch for now. Do I want Force of Vigor? I think I'll go without Force of Vigor for now. We can reassess game 3. The problem is if they have Leyline of the Guild Pact and the 4/4 Flyer, doesn't the Flyer have Hexproof? I'm actually going to check that. All right. Yeah, so if they have Leyline and Scion, then it has Hexproof. Not an ideal hand against this deck because they do have a lot of burn. So this puts me basically to like 12 as soon as the game starts. That being said, I'm going to keep. It is a 9-card hand with 2 lands. Okay, good. Opponent has nothing turn 1. I'm not quite sure what they have in the way of sideboard. I don't know if they play like Relics or Soul Guide Lanterns or anything like that. They probably have Rest in Peace, is my guess. So that being the case, I'm going to hold off on filling up my graveyard. Because I do have removal spells for Rest in Peace if they play it. Opponent has full domain if they want it. I'm going to get painless lands here because I have a feeling my life total is going to be threatened this game. And then I can go get white with this Misty. And now I'm going to look for Subtlety. There's Wingcaller Avon. Do I want to go to 13? Yeah, at this point I do. Okay, well I can still bounce that Kavu. It's not the end of the world. Now I just need a Cascade spell. Force Negation is not bad. That'll hit their first Tribal Flames. So what I could do here is let them attack. They likely exile a card from my graveyard, and then I can bounce on their end step. So that way I get next turn off. But yeah, I think I'll let them do that. No. I mean, either way, I'm dodging 5 damage for 1 turn, so I think I'll still bounce now. I think the sooner I do things, the better. Like maybe they spend their mana on something that's not as threatening and then they can't redeploy. However, I think just not taking 5 is worth a lot. Next turn I have Hardcast Endurance if I want. They play Flage. Okay. I can Endurance that away. So I think that's actually good for me. I'd rather they do that than redeploy that Kavu. That's quite nice. Let's take 2. And I think before they can untap and have a consign to memory, I will use this Endurance. There's no reason to do this in the begin combat stat. I'm just going to do it on my turn. So that's a pretty clear Kavu, I think. Probably should have used Misty to go get Breeding Pool there. I'd be at 7. I'm going to have to do that anyway, it looks like. So I didn't really save that much life. Godless Shrine. They can't cast 2 Kavus. They can't cast like Kavu Tribal Flames. Yeah, I'm going to let that resolve because the Tribal Flames is actually more dangerous. Scion of Draco. Okay, well, now I will use this because that kills me next turn. What? All right, opponent just had it. I mean, I didn't have anything really to do next turn, but I guess they're done with it. Round 2 on the draw. We've opened up a nice no land hand. That one's good. I'll keep that. And put back, I believe, Boseiju. Another white player. Then it goes land Ocelot Pride. So this is energy. And I wonder if that plains means they have a Blood Moon main deck. I'm going to use this generous instead of getting a Surveil land. Yep, they trigger their cat. I will get Hallowed Fountain into, I believe, basic forest will be good. All right, Sink into Stupor was a good draw there. Now we have a blue card we can pitch to Force of Negation if our opponent does something like play Blood Moon or Goblin Bombardment. They bin a mountain. I'll pop these out. Opponent casts Seasoned Pyromancer. Let's see if we can get a subtlety for that. Now they're tapped out. Well, there's the Ardent Plea, so actually that's even better. Now if I draw a green card, I can tuck their graveyard. Maybe I just want to Endurance anyway to tuck that graveyard because they could get that Johnny back, flip it, have a red permanent, and that's pretty bad for us. Green card. Not a green card. All right, here's what we do. I'm going to take an extra turn because I don't want to deal with that flip to Johnny. This doesn't kill me, so as long as they don't have like anything really strong, I can survive this. Cast the Endurance. So this is going to put me to 6. They discharge. So this is going to put me to 4. I think I will force that. Pitching Sink into Stupor. Go to block a cat token. I don't want to block one of the real creatures and have it come back. Well, we got. Oh man. Okay, well, that's game. I don't think it was right to go off last turn because then that Ajani comes back. They have red permanent Ajani, 2 tokens. Oh man. But I don't know. All right. It's a tough matchup on the draw. I think I want Commandeer, Foundation Breaker to Fairy, and out will come Waker, Aven, Street Wraith, Waker. Play first. That's a reasonable hand. It's not really that great. I'll keep. Play tap land. We do have our basic forest in the face of Blood Moon. So we just need to get our basic island and we're totally safe. Guide of Souls is going to happen. All right, that's pretty good. Now we've got Waker Dig and 2 free spells. Voice of Victory. Let's see what we draw. All right, that's just an easy pitch. Well, actually. So if I... Is it worth letting them replay Voice of Victory to have subtlety? Yeah, I'm just going to let that resolve. Street Wraith would be a good draw. Alright, unlike last turn, I'm not going to wait. They don't have a Johnny, so this is way less threatening. And this matchup's much harder for them on the draw. They only get to spend 3 mana before we can Cascade, as opposed to when they're on the play, they get to spend 6 mana. Alright, and we're just going to probably look to counter something this turn. I don't know if I would counter a Flage. Season Pyro, yes. Not interested in that. I still have Force of Negation for something if it goes haywire. I can hold up Subtlety, or Endurance, I mean, for the rest of the game. And I've got a food token. Now with cheese. I will take the opportunity to hit my land drop, and I'll get Breeding Pool. That way I've got blue, blue, and green, green open. Take 2 life, and ship the turn. Static Prison. No thank you. They could have another one. Looks like they're going to get Flage here and go up to 9. No, Seasoned Pyromancer. That's actually pretty good. Windcaller Aven would be sick. So this is why Windcaller Aven is good against energy. It's not necessarily for the body, it's more for the jump. I see that now after I've had some more experience with it. Subtlety is a pretty good draw. Force them to jump block. Both these creatures are lethal. And now we've got pretty much a full buffet of options at our disposal. Guide of Souls, no. Not interested in that. Alright. So that went pretty well. Do I want to change anything on the draw? I think we just need to get a good hand and line up well against what they're doing. This is a hard matchup to win if you lose game 1 on the draw. It gets easier when if you're on the play or if you get game 1 on the draw. I think this is good. Pretty good hand. Can't really ask for much more. I'd like to have a free interaction spell. But beggars can't be choosers. Opponent fetches. And plays Guide of Souls. Okay, that could... Is that the worst one to see on turn 1? Really depends on what their follow-up is. Because I have the luxury this game, I'm going to play around Blood Moon. Ghost Vacuum. That's not the most threatening. But I will try to force it. It's going to get one of my creatures anyway. I don't really care which one. Well, that was a nightmare draw. I would like to draw a blue card here. Pretty good. So I can kind of unleash a flurry next turn and then try to Living End. Opponent has 5 cards in hand and I don't have a Force of Negation, which is a massive bummer. Would I rather double Generous Ent Cycle? Yeah, I think I would. I think I would rather double Generous Ent Cycle and leave this Curator in my hand as a blue card. Does opponent have a 1 land? That probably represents Orum's Chant if they have a 1 land. Alright. We shall Force Cycle. Get... I guess Temple Garden. And I'm not going to worry about Blood Moon this game. Opponent's behind on mana. They wouldn't be able to cast it for another 2 turns. Yeah, I don't think I can afford to worry about Blood Moon at this point. How important is double blue, though? What do I value more? Getting double blue or playing around Blood Moon? I think I want that double blue. So for that reason, Breeding Pool. Yes. And Force Cycle for a basic forest. Ghost Vacuum can only exile one of these creatures. And they do it now. I think I'll wait a turn. This kind of makes it look like I don't have... I'll take out the Ghost Vacuum. This kind of makes it look like I don't have a Cascade spell. So if they draw a second land, they're kind of incentivized to tap out. Because right now this looks like Orim's Chant, and then if they have Orim's Chant... Gosh, my computer's lagging. OBS is making my computer lag. I should have bought a better computer. I went with like a lesser graphics card than I could have to save a couple $100. Are we getting punished for it? There's their second land. There's Ocelot Pride. I'm a turn away from just holding up. But I still have Hardcast Endurance, so... So if Ocelot Pride resolves, they have Orim's Chant. I then start taking a good amount of damage. They're going to get their trigger right away. Yeah, I'm going to subtlety that. Opponent has the most obvious Orim's Chant I've ever seen. I think what I do here, depending on what I draw, is just hold up Endurance. There's Commandeer. That's a blue spell I could pitch to something. I brought in Commandeer as a way to just fight through an Orim's Chant, but I don't have the blue cards for it. Or like a Thraben Charm or something, or like the worst case scenario, Goblin Bombardment. They put Flage into the graveyard, but they can't cast it yet. I'll just pop the graveyards out for the rest of the game. Hopefully they attack. No, they don't. They're too smart for that. I'm still going to cast the Endurance to use my mana and to get rid of this Flage. Alright. If they block, I think I just keep doing nothing. They didn't block. So now that I have copious amounts of Shardless Agent, I will fight through an Orim's Chant. Yeah. Okay. I still get a 2-2. N-O. And I'm safe from Blood Moon. Another Ghost Vacuum. That can only get one of my 3 creatures, though. And I could always draw another Cycler. They go after the Ent. That makes sense. And they play Guide of Souls. Nice. It makes me wonder if they'll block if I attack. Yeah, because if I attack and they block, then I just don't Living End. Yeah, let's just beat down. What are you going to do? Chump block? I don't think so. Let's see what I draw. Cycler would be good. Land is pretty good too. Let's Surveil. Creature would be great. Don't need that. How could this go wrong? Let's do a pre-mortem of how I lose this game. They could untap, play on a Johnny and a land, bolt their Johnny, flip it. That's like best. No, that's like worst case scenario. So what's better? Yeah, I think the advice I've been given by energy players is that you have to close them out. You can't let them build up a big strong hand because they have a lot of options. They can do a lot with the little, and we'll take out that Ghost Vacuum. I don't need to live in it again. Yes, use the ability. What I was kind of worried about is they could go like removal spell, creature, and then we're kind of in a worse position than I would have been. And they, I mean, they have 5 cards in hand that they haven't been casting. Yeah, there's the 1 removal spell. So that goes after Subtlety, okay. Yeah, there's the other removal spell. Shoot. And now I have a worse board than before, but they don't have 2 Guide of Souls. And we have a lot of good draws in our deck. I think I just want to hang on to this Generous Int for now. The other option is play it and surveil. Actually, yeah, I want to surveil. Do I want Sync? Yeah, I guess I'll keep Sync into Stupor. We almost kind of have a living end coming off a suspend now with these static prisons. There's a Johnny. If they flip that, I can bounce it. I can also just bounce the token. Is that a good use of our hand though? Yeah. Just reduce their options. What's going on here? Yeah, my computer can't really keep up with this. Don't skip combat. Attack. They either block or go to 1. Now they cannot fetch. They lose 2 energy. So they need to put energy into play. They can't use that fetch land. If their play here is Flage, then that was the wrong land. They can't do it. Voice of Victory. Probably not quite enough. They have to chump block with the Johnny here. And by the way, I get 1 of these creatures back. Alright. Windcaller Aven, once again, coming through in the clutch. Free jump. Alright, 2-0 after a grimy match against Energy. See you in round 3. Okay, we've lost another die roll. This hand looks passable. I'll keep it. Third white player, but this one has Stomping Ground. And Utopia Sprawl. Well, we can't force that, even if I drew 1. So is this red-green Eldrazi? Looks like it. Start with the Surveil. I don't need any more lands. What I need are Cascade spells. Ooh, Malevolent Rumble. Wish we could force that, however we cannot. We can tuck that graveyard, though. Emrakul the Promised End. Okay, so we'll definitely be needing to tuck the graveyard. Alright. Going to play Hallowed Fountain. Still no blue card, so if they have Thought Not Seer, they can't really do anything to us because our hand is so redundant and also bad. Is this an Obligator? No, it's some Micah Spawn. Wow. Well, I do want to cycle before I draw. Get lands out of my deck. I'm going to go get a replacement white mana. So we'll get the Temple Garden in case I draw a Cascade Spell. And if we don't draw a Cascade Spell, we'll still have... Oh, no, we don't. This is just a straight up Stone Rain. Gosh. What a ridiculous card. That resolves. I guess I'll get Lush Porticia since we can't do anything next turn anyway. Drawing the basic there wasn't bad. I'm going to cycle the Street Wraith. See if I can get like a Waker. Okay, Force of Negation, usually not a bad draw, but we can't cast it. Don't need that. Press the enemy. This might be my least favorite matchup in Modern. I don't think it's our worst, it's just unenjoyable. Alright, they have Ghost Quarter, so I still have a Forest in my deck. Cannot do anything about that. Use the ability. I could have cast Endurance if I played the Temple Garden. And they have a World Breaker. Okay. The opponent's basically cheating. It's target land. Need a Cascade spell here. That's a pretty good start. So as crappy as this game is going, if they don't kill our land next turn, we could still hit a Cascade spell with this Waker. Yeah, just take it. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 types. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This casts 13, so they can't cast Emrakul yet. Wait, no, they have 13 because this is tribal. Alright, it's just Higher Ghast. When you cast this spell, you may exile your hand if you do draw 3 cards. Doesn't have haste. Alright. That's not the most horrific thing I've ever seen. Okay, now we just need a oh, what's it called? Cascader. And this game's actually looking winnable. Do need a Cascade hit here, though. That's not a Cascade spell. Alright, we got one draw at one. No, so close. How close were we? Oh my gosh, alright. Going to bring in Foundation Breaker. I'm going to try. the juke plan. Clarion is reasonable. It turns off Scion tokens. Do I want to ferry? I don't think I want to ferry. Go down to 1-1 on those. I mean, I already have one to ferry. Do I want another? All right, try this. I'm leaving Endurance in because they have Delirium in their deck. All right, hopefully this goes a little better. And I am such a pro at drawing Inevitable Betrayal. You wouldn't believe it. I don't have any blue mana, so I'm going to mulligan. What did I tell you guys? At least I get to put this one back. Done. I will hurt myself. And cycle Windcaller even eventually. I'll make it look like I'm digging for a force even though I'm not. Well, actually, am I? Yeah, actually, I think I am. Just slow them down. Now I just need a land. Turtle wasn't doing much else anytime soon. There's the land. Nice. I'm going to play the Misty. See if I can surveil something, get to the top for next turn. Or the graveyard. I think my dog's about to start barking, you guys. The neighbors had the audacity to walk past our house. All right, computer's lagging. I'm trying to cast Charlotte's Agent. There we go. I got to be careful I don't heck myself over with this lagginess. I think OBS makes my computer laggy. All right, we get Emrakul. Nice. I promise the game will end soon. I should have taken some more time to look at their deck there, but whatever. All right, now do I juke back out of it? On the draw, they could take like the Emrakul out of their deck, and then like I just don't have any good hits. So I think that card did its job. Put the Living Ends back. I'll put Windcaller back. I think I can go down Clarion. They have a lot of mid-range creatures, so I don't think Clarion's that good. What's the worst card still here? I guess I'll bring in an Ardent Plea, or take out an Ardent Plea. No. I am on the draw, so I have more time to find it. No, I want the Ardent Plea. I'll take out one Windcaller. Alright, gotta be careful that I don't lag and accidentally pass through a phase. Oh, that hand is almost so good. No lands. I'll keep that. Put back Basic Island because I want to go find that potentially. Okay, they don't have a turn one, what's it called? Just take the damage here. Hopefully they go less hard on Graveyard Hate this game. because they think I'm on the Inevitable Betrayal plan. I only saw one Emrakul the Promised End, which means there's only one in their deck, or they drew another one that game. All right. I will look for Force of Negation for this. Oh, we didn't find it. Disruptor Flute, Trinosphere, Devourer. Okay. What did they put in their hand? Show game log. Eldrazi Temple. Okay, they just took another land. They're feeling... So they probably have Kozilek's Command. Potentially horrible draw. I'll get the Hedge Maze in play. I've already clicked Hedge Maze. There we go. Besage is like generally good, but I think it's too slow at this point. They have 1, 2, 3. They have 6 mana next turn. If I Besage them, they still have 5. Alright, if they spend their mana on like anything but Kozilek's Command here, we're pretty happy. There's a Rumble. They're not putting much pressure on us. And they can't pick up the 3-ball or the Disruptor Flute. What did they return? Writhing Crystallis. Okay, so next turn they can writhe us. Unfortunate. They have that Devourer of Destiny in the yard. I am going to cycle. Maybe they'll sack it thinking they can counter the card draw. Yeah, this matchup we lined up really bad against our opponent in every game. Well, not game 2, but in the first game especially. Like, despite how bad that game was going, we were still super close to winning it. Okay, Force of Negation could be something. I'm gonna play Misty here and pass. And they're encouraged here to Writhing Chrysalis for everything. There's Disruptor Flute. Do I just want to counter that? 3 more to cast. That would make Living End cost 3 to... But will he name Living End? Alright. Here's the juke. Do we let him resolve this thinking that he needs to name Inevitable Betrayal and that card's just not in our deck? Let's risk it. I think I have to take a risk to get ahead in this game. Now they're thinking about what to play. I probably took too long to let that resolve. Yes. All right. We got them to pay 2 mana to discard a card. Nice. So if Inevitable Betrayal isn't even good enough to leave in our deck in all the matchups that it's good in, is it even good enough to be in the deck at all? That's something I'm wondering. And now opponent can just go absolutely hamburgers. I would really, really like to draw, what's it called? What are their creatures like? Their only creature is Devourer right now. We can beat that. And that's gonna... Okay, Writhing Crystallis actually... I was thinking Sowing Microspawn. That's actually not that bad. That's actually really good for us. This turn went incredible. We could win the game now. Because I have 2 flyers that go over this Devourer, and he doesn't get the trigger off of it. Yeah, that went so good. I'm not gonna get Basic Forest, actually, because they have land destruction. Going to get... Do I get another white mana? I'm gonna get Lush. And then Meticulous Archive. Archive enters the battlefield tipped. Yes, more creatures. I'd like to use that Waker, but I don't have time. I guess I want that on my graveyard. And hopefully these flyers can get us there. Opponent's probably wondering the same thing I was just talking about a couple minutes ago. If I have a card that's so good that it can steal games, why am I taking it out? And this is the reason I take it out, because they can take the powerful Eldrazi's out of their deck. They don't need Emrakul to win. They have World Breaker, they have Writhing Chrysalis, they have Semi-Micro Spawn. I wonder if they're typing up anything. Show chat. Nope. Alright. They sack. So unfortunately they can Kozilek's Command here. Yeah, that stinks. They can only they only get 2 creatures though. I thought they could get more than that. No, they can't. Okay. Too bad I didn't have a Street Wraith. Do I want to top that so I can go again? Yes, I do, because this creature is worthless on the battlefield. I'm going to top that so I can go again next turn. And I have 1 living and left in my deck. He can't attack. If he commits to the battlefield, that's really good for us. He commits to the battlefield, but shoot. Well, now I can't Waker. And that's why I got the extra white mana. Well, I don't actually need it. Didn't actually need the extra white mana. I actually need the extra green mana now. Okay. Unfortunately, I cannot. What's his graveyard look like? He would get the Writhing Chrysalis back, which is actually really bad for us. I'm going to attack with my fire. And I think I'll play Otawara. And just to hold up activity. I would really like an Endurance. But if he overcommits to the board, then maybe we can at least do something. Opponent casts a big spell. It's just another Semi-Micro Spawn. Okay, is that overcommitting to the board? I'll let him go get his Bojuka Bog, potentially, and then use Waker. I mean, not that Bojuka Bog matters right now. More Cyclers. Okay, Ardent Plea's not bad there. I will force that. And I have to pitch Sync here. One of my ways I win this game is I draw an Endurance next turn. And I pitch Charlotte's Agent. will not be attacking to fairy. Do I want that? No, that's not very good. But that might draw some fire away from me for a turn. It's not good enough. So my graveyard's Charlotte's Waker. His graveyard is Writhing Chrysalis. Can I win the game with that? Really wish I had a flyer in my graveyard. Shardless is just terrible. And the risk I run is he kills another land. How's his Delirium doing? His creature, tribal instant, sorcery 4, land 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, he's got enough for Emrakul if he drew it. Teferi is potentially great if all my lands survive. The thing is, I just don't think... So he gets the Writhing Chrysalis. He pumps it up to 4. Oh no, he doesn't get any. Okay, that's way better. He doesn't get the Scions. I'll use my last living end here. It's not really my last living end because I still have Press the Enemy in my deck. Yeah, I was thinking he could pump this up, make it a 4/5. Even that's still not very good. All right, we're just gonna have to hope that our 7/7 is able to beat whatever he produces. I mean, we do get 3 creatures out of that. Okay, hopefully he just drew a bunch of bricks. Sanctum of Ugin. Whenever you cast a huge creature spell, you can go get another one. Cast Marumble. Alright, what does he put in his graveyard? Temple, Sprawl, Kozilek. What did he get? He gets Devour of Destiny. He can cast it. Dang it, that sucks. Yeah, but now he can go get more. I mean, I just had to... I don't know, did I have to? Maybe I went a little bit prematurely there. That sucks. I'm not gonna block. I will Street Wraith. I'll Street Wraith again. Blue land's better than no land. I don't have any living ends left. So I think I'll pick up my own Ardent Plea. No, Ardent Plea doesn't do anything. I will pick up Utopia Sprawl. If I target the Scion, okay, that's a start. Alright, so the way I win this game is I draw Press the Enemy. Teferi's gonna eat it, and that's okay. He did his job. He drew a card and he took some damage. So now I don't need green. I just need to draw, Press the Enemy. Would I have been better off just playing Inevitable Betrayal? I did have bounce spells for this Disruptor Flute. But it's totally possible the best card in his deck anymore is Devourer. Yeah, he just goes and gets another Writhing Crystallis. He didn't get an Emrakul. What that means, all the good cards are out of his deck. So yeah, that was a good juke. It just didn't pan out. Another Devourer. Am I dead? 6. Yeah, does this kill me? 5, 6, 11. Darn it. And I don't have a food available. Alright, well, good games. Round number 4, we have lost the die roll, and I'm actually tempted to keep this hand, but if Force of Negation is bad, then this hand is terrible. I'm going to mulligan. That's much better. I'll keep. And I think put back Street Wraith. A 4th white fetch land in a row. Play the Hallowed Mountain. I don't like to give away what I'm doing before my opponent surveils. I know other players might use that Street Wraith turn 1, but now, like, if he has a card in his deck that's really good against me, he doesn't necessarily know to look for it. And we found another red-green Eldrazi opponent, it looks like. So we're getting tested right away. I will look for a Force of Negation. Well, I should have used the Imp first. I'm going to avoid getting my basics because they have cards that kill basics or kill non-basics and let you search. Get the breeding pool, and then they can rumble it up. And I'm going to do the same plan, I think, next game with the Inevitable Betrayal. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they put in their graveyard. It's the exact same deck, and Kozilek's Return is a complication. Living End, terrible draw. Just shock that in and pass the turn. At least Ent and Waker are safe. So this is a clear Kozilek's command. So I think what I'm actually going to do is force them to use it. Do I want to use Ardent Plea or do I want to use Shardless Agent? If they don't have Kozilek's command and this resolves, then they like maybe Kozilek's Return next turn, wipe out Agent, and it goes to the yard. Okay. But I'm actually hoping that they Kozilek's command and just get rid of my 2 creatures. Okay. That was quite a few cards for the Cascade to hit. And I guess if this does just resolve, then that's not the worst thing in the world either. And eventually this Endurance might clean up that Kozilek's Return. They're thinking about if it's even worth it. Yeah, they're going to use the Kozilek's command. Eat up both cards in our graveyard. Yeah, they could have eaten 3 cards. So even if this Waker had binned 2 creatures, including itself, we would only get our worst creature back. Yeah. Let me know if you guys would have played that differently. Usually the first Kozilek's command's like almost, you can almost like guarantee they're gonna have it. It feels like it's not literally a guarantee, but it feels pretty much like it. Yep, they get a Writhing Crystallis, not the most threatening card. If I block with Shardless Agent, then it's pretty clear that I have another Living End. So I think I'll let it hit me this turn. We're also one Living End top deck away from pretty much just losing the game. But such is life for the Living End players. Okay, they devour, looks like. No, it's only Micah Spawn. That's not the worst. We can recover from that if we draw a land. They should go after the breeding pool, I think. No, they want the white mana. It is easier for me to get green than white, so that's the logic there. And I will not be blocking Writhing Crystallis. They should have attacked. Alright, well, now I have to use this. Hopefully we see land creature. Not really. I'll take force. Maybe that will do something. Gosh, this deck just beats up on us so hard. It's pretty unlucky to get two RG Eldrazi opponents. Does this deck have a good like prowess matchup or energy matchup? Sanctum, yeah, they don't need to use that. Let's see, what do they get? They reveal this card. So is that the best thing in their deck? Do I even want Inevitable Betrayal if that's what they're getting? Yeah, they're probably getting that because they can't cast the Emrakul yet. They have land 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, they actually have enough mana for Emrakul. They just chose not to get it if they have it. All right. Yep. And now they have that in the graveyard. It's looking pretty bad. No need to use Kozilek's Return. Does not have haste though. So we need a land immediately. And it can't be a tap land. Alright, we're done. They do have Ulamog. Alright, well, I'm gonna try it. Do I care about Clarion? Going to take out Windcaller. I think we're good with that. Yeah. Teferi bounces like a Disruptor Flute for a turn. I think I'll try a Teferi. I'm really playing Teferi as a bounce spell. Play first, that'd be nice. Guys, I am the pro's pro at drawing this freaking card. I'm gonna keep because this hand's good otherwise, and I could just cheese a win on turn 3. Although, I mean, I think competitive players are pretty much aware of what's going on in this matchup. Devourer revealed. Alright, Foundation Breaker's pretty good. I'll bin that. And if they took out all of the targets, then that's just probably going to be game over. Hopefully they play like a Chalice or something here. They exile 3 lands, so it's not really clear what they kept. Opponent has Sprawl. Naming red. Do I want to take out that Sprawl? I mean, do they need red mana? That's the thing. Say if they were to, like, what is red mana threatening next turn? Writhing Chrysalis? I don't think it's threatening anything. So that being the case, I'm just going to play Misty. Like, yeah, it is threatening Writhing Chrysalis next turn, but that's not that good. It could also be threatening Thought-Knot Seer. They could have Eldrazi Temple Thought-Knot Seer. Maybe that was worth more of a consideration, especially since I drew Teferi for a Chalice. Yeah, that was a little bit of a punt, I think, by me. If they had like exactly Thought-Knot Seer into another card that I would want to bounce, there's the red anyway, and they don't have Eldrazi Temple. They could cast Disruptor Flute and potentially slow us down. Oh. All right, Boseiju would be kind of nice. Where was the start last game? I will look for Force of Negation. I should have surveilled first. All right, yeah, see, I'm clearly not up to it today. Don't need that. That can go ahead and resolve. Now, I have had people with 1 Emrakul in their deck, and it's in their hand when I Inevitable Betrayal them. All right, they at least have some big stuff still. Soulless Jailer. I don't want to Teferi that because they can play it again. Do I want to Foundation Breaker that or sink it? I think I want to sink it. Soulless Jill would prevent me from casting Inevitable Betrayal from Exile. There's Trinisphere. Okay, so what's the best way to handle this? Do I even need to do anything? I mean, if I play Trinisphere, they just play it again. If I sink it, I mean. And the thing is, all right, so I bounce, say, Trinisphere. It costs more, so that's the one I would bounce. I bounce Trinisphere, untap Teferi, bounce Soulless Jailer. They still just... They have both of them. Soulless Jailer prevents things from being cast, whereas Trinisphere just makes them cost more. I think just to occupy their mana, I will bounce Trinisphere. And I can go upstairs, I think, with this Teferi. Force of Negation, not bad. Okay. Gonna leave the basic in my deck. Get Breeding Pool, because I'm gonna need 2 blue, and if they take a blue out next turn, that way I still have it. But I also need white, huh? Well. Yeah, I'm not playing the best. Hopefully they don't destroy my white land. I have Force of Negation now for Trinisphere. What would I pitch? I think I would pitch Inevitable Betrayal. I don't need this game going on too long, so I don't think I have time to set up a suspend. Here comes a 3-ball. The only thing is, if I force pitch Inevitable Betrayal and they have Disruptor Flute in their hand, then they know exactly what to do. But I don't think I have time for that. There's their Eldrazi Temple. Hopefully it's not a Thought Not Seer. I can beat one hate piece with Teferi. Alright, Rumble's not that bad, potentially. They've tapped their Mega Forest. And then hopefully we just get like an Emrakul, or at worst, that Ulamog from last game, the Ceaseless Hunger. What did they get? They get Forest. Alright, Redundant Ardent Plea, not the worst. Oh, I should have played that Ardent Plea before combat. Whoopsie daisies. Shouldn't matter too much. Oops, need a blue. Yeah, I'm just punting all over the place. There's IB. Target them. Let's look at their deck this time. They have Magus of the Moon. That's good to know about. They don't have any World Breakers, so I don't need to worry too much about leaving basics in my deck. This is actually really good to know. So rather than leaving basics in my deck well, that doesn't matter, but for how many land destruction spells do they have? None. All right. They're not on the land destruction plan. I will get Emrakul the Promised End. Which attacks for 14 next turn. And this thing's pretty safe because most of the removal is based on something having one color. Like Devourer, All is Dust, etc. If they All is Dust, they don't have lethal. Hopefully this was the only one in their deck. Yeah, Devourer of Destiny. It does prevent... Yeah, see, that's why casting this pre-combat was a big deal. Very, very big deal. But I do have another one. If I didn't have another one, that would have been a big deal. Let's just cast this. Boom, boom, bam. Oh, need blue. Once again, that card costs blue. I have nothing left to hit. Attack for 14. Alright. I'll be right back. Okay, I think I do want a Force of Vigor in the deck. What do I want to take out? I actually don't think Subtlety's that good. Do I want to take out these Inevitable Betrayals and go back into Living End also? I think so. I think they have a low enough number of meaningful cards that they don't need to have all of them. And then I guess I can go down 1 Endurance. No, but that's green. Okay, I think I can actually go down Subtlety and Commandeer is just here for Kozilek's command. I think I can go down Subtlety and Ardent Plea. Well, this is not my favorite hand I've ever kept, but I do have Visage You for any hate pieces. Well, for 1 hate piece. We'll see what they exile. They exiled creature, land, land. So it's unclear from that what they picked up. If they load up on this, I could Visage You it. There's Utopia Sprawl. They have all their colors, so they'll probably just name it green. Alright. I'm going to leave that Street Wraith in my hand for now. It could help me rebuild after a Kozilek's command. Hopefully we dodge a big colorless mana spell. Well, we have not. I could Visage You that if they tap it to make this creature exiled forever. What do they have? If it's Thought-Knot Seer, do I Subtlety? No, it's just a Rumble. I'm going to look with a blue-green land. Actually, no, I think I need green-white here. No, but then I can't cycle, so I have to get blue-green. I could get... No, if I get blue-white, then I don't have 2 mana, or I don't have green for Visage You, so I have to get the Breeding Pool. And they have Magus of the Moon. That's something to think about. Yes. I will look for a force for this. Okay. Need to remember, opponent has Magus of the Moon. I do have Subtlety for it. There's Press the Enemy. Potentially not the worst. There's Endurance, which is also kind of decent in the face of this Malevolent Rumble. And then the question is, do I go after that land next turn? Let's see what they pick up. Try to play good for 1 game, because that's all I need to get through this match. Rumble, Talisman, Magus, Windswept Heath. What do they take? They take the Heath and go for the Jailer. So I can bounce that and Visage You that. And I can also even Press the Enemy that. It's not a horrible... That's not the worst thing they could have right now. Not threatening at the moment. Alright, Temple Garden's a pretty good draw there. Which land do I play? All these lands potentially have utility except for Temple Garden. This can only ever just be a land. Should I go after this to make that Devourer go away forever? Or do I just... Either way, I'm gonna have to take 2. Or do I just go for a Mega Dig with Waker? I think I like this play right now. They can go get like a Surveil land. That took away a mana and it took away a resource. Although in general, I'd rather be faster than slower versus this deck because they tend to snowball pretty well. There's Eldrazi Temple. They have 6 mana. What do they want to do? Well, darn. What's their graveyard look like? 1 creature at the moment. And that gets the beatdowns going. They go after my blue land. Can't say I blame them for that. They could go get Bajuka Bog if they have one. I can't recall. No, if they just get Sanctum. I'm not going to subtlety that because then I lose my other land next turn. Cascade Spell would be clutch. I'm not going to have time for, I don't think, Sink into Stupor. What I mean is I'm not going to, I don't know what I meant by that, but I'm going to have to bounce that Soul Exchange Jailer probably on an end step. So I'm at 8, and then that puts me to 5, and then another hit puts me to 2. I need to fade something here, and I now am in the position where I would subtlety a creature for that reason. Subtlety pitching press the enemy. What I meant to say is I'm never going to have time for press the enemy. I at least don't have any targets for a Devourer. So if they want to cast a 6/6, then... Well, if they cast the 6/6, I can subtlety. Alright. Wish our opponent would play a little faster. They tap their mana, they untap their mana, they tap different mana. Oh man. I hate this card so much. It creates the worst play patterns. Like, how come Legacy doesn't have to deal with it? How come all the broken stuff gets banned out of Legacy immediately, but Modern still has to live with it? They don't kick it, targeting one of my lands. But I can't. Oh, yeah, they do. Okay. Well, heck. Force negation does nothing. And then if I mean, what can I do here? I'm still just going to put the force negation in my hand because it does not. I don't have time. I don't have the blue mana to cycle that card. I'm just going to say it. Whoever decided to print this card can go fudge themselves. How many soul lands? Like, in Modern, or in Legacy, if you want to play soul lands, you have to play, like, Ancient Tomb and City Traders. But in Modern, if you play soul lands, they just all upside, and they don't hurt you. I've made a land drop on every turn of this game, and I have one land in play. There's the bog. All right. I've seen enough. Okay, round number 5. We finally get to play again. I guess I'll keep. It could be worse. I could have 2 living ends in it. Oh, I'm not on the play. Okay, never mind. Against a hollowed fountain deck, this art makes me think it's a control player. Does anybody else judge what strategy they think their opponent's on just from the art on their lands? Because I do. Anytime I see like a hyper-specific island, I assume it's Merfolk or Blue Moon. But Island and Blue Moon players play different islands. Like if you see like Cup Island, it's probably Blue Moon. Anybody else think that? Anyway, I'd really like to draw a Teferi, not a Teferi, I'd really like to draw a Force or a Subtlety for a Teferi that they might have. I'm not worried about my life total, so I'll go ahead and get Breeding Pool. Yes, pay 2 and cycle. And our opponent probably has something like Counterspell. That's fine. They are on 4 cards, though. Charlotte's Agent, not a bad draw, but I'm still totally unprotected. No, that's not what I wanted. They stopped in my draw step. And I really just hope that this cycler is able to save us here. Sorry for the slow play out of my opponents today. I can't really do anything about it. And editing these takes, like, if I go through and I clip out all the moments where nothing's happening, that takes a long time. I am starting another YouTube channel for golf-related content. There's Xander's Lounge. Is this something else? It's called Extra Mid Golf XTRA. Go ahead and check that out. There's a Flage. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I would prefer, well, let's do this the smart way. I would prefer to Subtlety the Flage and then attempt to live in a next turn. Don't need that. Yes. I don't think Sync's going to be very good. I don't want them to get the Flage back. Now they're on Force of Negation or Bust. Or Supreme Verdict. But I don't know. I don't think the Xander's Lounge Breeding Pool deck is likely to be playing Supreme Verdict. I don't need the white mana right away, so I'm not going to hurt myself any more than I need to against the known Flage player. And even if they Force of Negation, that's still a 2-for-1. Yep. Okay. Well, I guess I should have kept. No, I shouldn't have kept Charlotte's because I needed to get that. What's it called? I needed to get that subtlety. Okay, we could Otawara next turn if they do something too heinous. What are they doing over there? Is this just like a mid-range deck? Oh, it's Rhinos. You guys, it's Rhinos. Okay, well, Otawara is now terminate. I'm just gonna get the basic island, I think. And Otawara, I just had to double check. I can bounce my own Charlotte's Agent, so that's what I'm going to do. So I take 10 here, go to 6. And then I put them on Force of Negation or Bust. Hopefully they don't have like Tribal Flames, even if they do. No, if they have... Alright, so what I'm going to do is block. No, I'm not going to block. I want them to commit to something. As soon as I block, if they have like a burn spell for my Charlotte's Agent, it would blow me out. I mean, it still blows me out. I was hoping to catch them lacking if they have a burn spell. Alright. They still have all their mana potentially for Force of Negation. Target a Rhino. He believes he can fly. Okay, the problem with this, I'm not going to use that one because I have to go to cancel. No, I can still surveil. That's fine. I don't want to go to 2, but I'm okay going to 3. Get my archive, which enters the battlefield tipped. Shardless again. Cast the Living End, our final Living End. And I'm not going to bother targeting the Shardless. I don't have anything to pitch. Alright, do we just one-shot them with flyers? No. Opponent needs a big old board wipe. Hardcast Subtlety is not going to do it. I have this Curator to block the Subtlety clean. Hopefully that's just Scoop. Yep, there it is. Okay, I haven't played against this for a while. Teferi's great. Mystical is great. Do I want Commandeer just to take their Yeah, I think I like Commandeer more than I like what's it called? Subtlety. I don't think Subtlety is good at all. Take out Subtlety. Now, they might have a juke plan that involves things that Subtlety would be good against. I'll take out on the draw Waker, Aven. If they play Teferi, press the enemy could be good. Endurance. Yeah, Endurance is terrible. I'll take out all the Endurances, actually. And put his Subtlety back in, because they could still have a Teferi Planeswalker. As opposed to, Teferi's Response or Teferi's Protection. I think there's also a 5-mana Teferi creature. Yeah, good hand against Cascade. I'd just be a control deck in this matchup is all I need to do. I think. I will keep. Now they also probably have endurance, so I really don't think that loading up on the graveyard is even that good. Well, that sucks, but I don't want to draw it. If they endurance us, they'll put it back in our deck. I'm surprised they don't have a Surveil land. I think Surveil lands are better than Xander's Lounge, but this shows that they probably have that Scion of Draco in their deck. Big Dragon. They have a dragon, but it's on a basic plains. They have 4 of the 5 land types. Still missing green. I guess I will go get Breeding Pool. And play it. If they do something like play a Scion of Draco, I can Teferi bounce it. They still don't have all their colors. And I'm starting to think they're not very green. Okay, well I think what I'll do here is, this looks like a very clear Force of Negation. So I don't want to run Teferi into that, because Teferi is the better card here than Ardent Plea. So I think, Teferi's better than a Resolved Living End even anyway, I think. So I'd rather than Force of Negation the Living End. Yep, they forced, that's fine. We pretty much expected that. Also, the secret hidden mode on Ardent Plea is that it's a permanent in play, so I can bounce it with things like Teferi and, like last game, Otawara. There's the forest. There's the suspended crashing footfalls. Alright, do I want to run Teferi out into probably another Force of Negation? They could also very easily have Mystical Dispute. See what I draw. Flash spell would be nice here. It's not a flash spell, but I think I'm just going to play it. They could have something like, this is making me think they have something like Magus of the Moon or Blood Moon, the way they're getting basics. They didn't get the Force, they drew it. They didn't get the planes either, but still, just the fact that they have these basics. And I'm not going to overfill my graveyard because they could have endurance very easily. Do I want to cast Curator? If I cast Curator, then my opponent has the tempo advantage. But I have card advantage. I am up a card this game. Oh boy. I wonder what's going on over there. Did our opponent disconnect? No. I. Hey. Get the island. Hmm. I think I'll cast because they could have Mystical Dispute. That's something that could happen, but this prompts them to take actions, and then I can respond pretty well to almost everything they can do. And I would like to get their shields down to punch this Teferi through. They don't have Mystical Dispute. There's a Leyline Binding. Yeah, like I would so much rather they Leyline Binding this Curator than my Teferi. Opponent has a lot of lands. Probably too many. I'll play the Lush. See what's up. I think I'll top that and draw it. So that way I get up to 6 mana and I can play around Telegraph, and I don't have Endurance here. That's fine. That way I can just straight up play around Mystical Dispute next turn. How many time counters are still on this suspended? 3. Yeah, that's not coming down for a while. If I play Teferi with 3 mana up, I can pay for Mystical or just Force of Negation 1. I think I'd rather pay for it. And I'll dig with Waker. I don't think I'm casting it. I'll take the Ardent Plea. Alright. Time to enact my scheme. Play Teferi. I'll fight over this with Force of Negation, I think. They ice? Okay, well I think I make a blue mana. They ice again. I'll make another blue mana. This is dramatic. Now I have Cascade. Cast the Living End. Probably win the game. Let's remember to use Teferi. And ship it. Now the only thing that gets us is Supreme Verdict. All right, 3-2. Hopefully I can get a prize out of this. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know where the prizes start, but we'll keep playing. Round number 6, I've lost another die roll. That hand's pretty good, so I'll keep. And I want to spend all of my mana. Oh, look, Eldrazi again. Great. Fantastic. That Force of Negation sure would have been nice. Although our opponent doesn't know that we're playing Loerien because they would have saved that Soul Guide Lantern if they'd looked us up. And this is probably an Urza Saga version because they have the Soul Guide Lantern. Walking Ballista, X equals 1. I think I just let that happen. I don't think they can do too much. Clarion Conqueror is good in this matchup. Go ahead and get Breeding Pool. And I'll get Temple Garden with the other one. Because like I said, I want to use all my lands. For mana. Although I think maybe I'll save this Waker now. Shoot. Wasn't thinking too hard about that. I was a little bit spaced out there, not gonna lie. Yeah, I think what I'll do is force him to pop. I took 2 damage there for no reason, which is actually pretty bad against this deck. I'll force them to pop this Soul Guide Lantern. Going to start on Ardent Plea, so I don't have to wipe away my Astralis Agent. This should force them to use Relic, or Soul Guide Lantern. And I've got 1 living end left in my deck. That's something to be aware of. They should sacrifice this and ping me. What is bro doing? No. That sucks. Well, the thing is I can't even load up in my graveyard. I could like pitch Subtlety, pitch Endurance, but they still have Soul Guide Lantern. Alright, I think I'll just commit to a slower game here. They haven't got an Urza Saga yet. And we've killed Walking Ballista. They didn't ping us with it. Alright. Kind of a small win there. Opponent's playing about as well as I am. Writhing Crystallis. Okay. I think I will Subtlety that. I want to buy some time here, and I don't have a 4th land. Yeah, Clarion's going to be so good against this guy. Idle False Gods. Okay. Well, whatever that is. The problem is, I don't have a third living end yet, unless I endurance myself. Which I actually think I'm going to do. Okay, it's 2 cards versus like nothing. Well, it's 5 cards versus 3 is what I mean to say. I've grown disenchanted with this match in this tournament. Yeah, that can resolve. I might get them to prematurely use this Soul Guide Lantern if I target myself with Endurance, because then it's like maybe they think I drew both my living ends and they can force me to never live an end again. Well, this is nice, I guess. Not really, but now we can tuck more cards. Let's see what they get. They have Blade, yeah, just combo. They get another Crystallis. Okay. I'm going to... I don't need to target myself yet. But actually, I think I do. Because I'm gonna need 2 living ends to win this game, I think. And they didn't use Soul Guide Lantern. They were not baited by it. I'm going to let them cast the second Writhing Crystallis and then try to wipe them both away. Maybe I'll get this idol too. If I draw a land next turn naturally, I could potentially bait out the Soul Guide Lantern and then cycle Waker of Waves for a big living end out of nowhere. Yeah. Okay, you have your 3/4 reach, or you have your big reach guy. I'm gonna chump block. If he goes all the way, I'll get it with the living end. Do it. No, he can't get it there yet. Unfortunate. We block. And now I want to fetch and look for a land. Carl Possum Forest. Would like a land. Actually, is the second Cascade spell good enough? So next turn... Yeah, I have 2 living ends in my deck now. But I've used up my endurance, so the next living end is going to be terrible. Alright, I'm all in on this next one being good. I'm going to put 1 more card in my graveyard for living end. Drawing a generous ant would also be good. That was a terrible draw. Good thing I did not keep the other Cascade spell. Oh boy. Opponent is down to 1 card in hand. They're going to make this thing huge. I mean, I have to do this. Force them to use that Soul Guide Lantern. Then if they use Soul Guide Lantern, I think I'll use Subtlety. They use Soul Guide Lantern. Wish I had that land, but I don't. Alright, I'm just all in on them drawing nothing and me being able to do something about this temple. Done. Okie dokie. Unfortunately, this thing is going to be huge. It's a 10-10. That not good. I do have bounce spells in my deck. They play a land, so it looks like they drew a land. Or they drew a huge creature, one of the two. They all is dust. Okay. Now I need to draw a bounce spell immediately. Never mind, he has Annihilator. I'm done. Alright. Alright, we will bring in the full suite of Artifact and Enchantment Hatred. 3 Clarions. I don't think he has anything big in his deck. I don't know how good Subtlety actually is. Go down. Aven. Waker. 1 Endurance. 1 Subtlety. If he leads on Urza Saga, I would so much rather have Force than anything else. Force of Vigor, that is. Take out another Windcaller and a Curator. No, Subtlety's worse. Try that. Man, where were all the Storm players? Or Energy. I would have taken Energy over this. I would have taken anything over this freaking Eldrazi. Alright, we finally get to play first. All it takes is losing. That's a hard pass. I'll keep that. And I think I want to tuck the Endurance, unfortunately. Okay, they start with Urza's Saga. Springleaf Drum, not the most threatening. I actually should have kept that Endurance, I think, because it was a green card if I drew Force. There's the Force. So close. So close again. There's the green card. I'm going to top that either way. We'll just decide what to do with it. Shoot, that was just... Alright, if I lose this game, that was big dumb by me. Not keeping the Endurance in my hand when I know that my best card is Force of Vigor. Basking Broodscale. Yeah, I mean, we've just got a combo next turn. Dare I say we've got it? And then any green card for the rest of the game is really good for us. I don't think I'm just leaving myself dead on board. Well, I mean, this isn't just going to win. It's only 3 creatures, but that's way better than, where the game would have been otherwise. And I'm getting a little bit punished for using that hedge maze. But I was more concerned with drawing answers than I was with filling up my yard. Okay, well, he's got... Is this a 2-card infinite combo? Well, I've got Force of Vigor next turn anyway. Alright, we're probably pretty good. He equips. Can he make something die? Yes, he can. Can't do anything about that. Alright. I forget how this works. Is this the infinite combo? Yeah, that's the infinite combo. Okay, opponent has Kozilek's command. Will not be having any of that. And now we're a bounce spell away from pulling back into this game. No reach. Send with the flyer. And before he can do anything else, hopefully these chump blocks allow us enough time to win. Opponent rumbles. That's not good. Bad hit, though. I'm going to block with Street Wraith because I have more ways to bounce Shardless from the battlefield than I do from the graveyard. Okay, Waker, not what I need, but could be helpful later. I'm gonna keep a blue mana available. Let's not use our best land then. Alright. We have tucked their graveyard. Although we did also just put a Walking Ballista back in their deck. Potentially disastrous. I'm living on a prayer here. Alright, nothing pre-combat. Good. We get to block. Sacrifice endurance to the Basking Broodscale gods. Hopefully they just do nothing. Land's not bad either. They take 2 down to 8 and cast a really good card in the circumstances. Now they have 2 lethal creatures. That was good. That was real good. How's my graveyard look? Yeah, okay, so is there a reason not to attack with Charlotte's Agent? No, there is not. Send with both. Yes, into your 2 lethal creatures, I would like to attack. And now they should chump block. Oh, I forgot this has reach. Derp. Oh, oh. Okay. I don't want the Chrysalis to die, so that's better, I suppose. I mean, it's so obvious I drew a living end here. In fact, it's so obvious I probably shouldn't have attacked, because now they can put their Chrysalis in the graveyard if they want. Yeah, that's what they should do, and then they should sacrifice 1 Eldrazi. They figured it out. Oh, did they? If I have something like a flash threat here that doesn't win me the game to block, they let the Shardless Agent hit them. Chrysalis goes to the yard, and then we unfortunately give him the Chrysalis back, but we took the Broodscale. Now if they make this huge, we could dig with Waker and Living End one more time, because I still have one in my deck. They don't have any swamps. Ancient Stirrings is a good card in the circumstances. Also, just a bounce spell is lethal, unless they get another something to block with. What do they reveal? They must be choosing between good options because it's taking them a while. Eldrazi 10 pool. So unless their last card is Thought-Knot Seer or something, yeah. Okay, we seem to have gotten out of it. Psych. I'll take the bounce spell. And because I can't use it, I'm going to attack with everybody and force them to block. Okay, moment of truth. Hey, we get there, 1-1. All right, I still don't think I want Inevitable Betrayal. I think I'll take out, what did I just cut? I do want Commandeer in the deck. I think I want to take out this last Waker and replace it with an Aven. Also, maybe Subtlety in place of Endurance. I don't think I want Teferi. Teferi's kind of slow, and they can win Sorcery Speed on their turn. That's a good hand. It's got turtles. Turtle hasn't done much today, but that could always change. Ancient Stirrings, yeah, we can't do anything about that. We'll see what they hit. They get Vexing Bauble. Force of Negation would be pretty good. Well, we don't get it yet. How about now? Yes, nice. Okay. There was no need to do that when I did it, but I did it, and I'd do it again. All right, hopefully their whole game plan is revolving around that Force of Negation. I can bounce that later. I'm not super worried about that at the moment. My life total's high. Hedge Maze. Need a land. That's a land that counts. Although, so is Generous Int. So I guess it doesn't matter. They cast Vexing Bauble. And because I have a third land on top, actually, no, cancel. That's the wrong force. I want to cast that, targeting that, pitching Subtlety, I think. Okay. They already played a land, so they can only Kozilek's command for one, if that's what they choose to do. Damping Sphere. That's super nice. Temple Garden. Each spell. Okay, so Damping Sphere costs 1. So what I can do is bounce Fleshraker on their turn, and then also like in their upkeep with the remaining mana, I can use Force of Vigor, pitching Endurance. Do I need the white mana? No. I also don't need the green. Just play the Painless Land. Turtle's not a spell, so it doesn't up the count. And if they have another Vexing Bauble, I can get it next turn. Begin combat, I will bounce that guy. Hopefully they replay it. This kind of looks like I can't cast Living End, hopefully to my opponent. They could use Urza Saga now to ping me. I don't think that's a good play, but they could. I think they should just replay it if that's what they want to do. Well, actually, the best play they have is just let me bounce it and then don't do anything. What is opponent doing? They cast Kozilek. What do they do? Yeah, okay, that's understandable. So they look like they're on to what we're doing. That happens. I take some damage. I'm going to take out, I think, Damping Spear in their end step. And, but do I just want to cast it next turn? Yeah, I think I should just cast it. That way I could potentially draw a green card and bounce Endurance, because right now my graveyard sucks. I'll go to my turn. Okay, does that change anything? What's the best way to play this out? I could cycle Curator. And then I have 2 creatures in my graveyard. And then I could still Force a Vigor. Force them in their upkeep so they won't get their trigger off of it. They could just spend their mana making a big token. They have a lot of mana next turn. Shoot. Did I leave myself dead to like a Walking Ballista? I think I start by cycling. That was pretty good. Now, do I want to... No, I don't want to take 2. My plan next turn is just Force of Vigor on their upkeep. I think taking 2 damage there is too risky. And I have a stop in their upkeep. Does not cost any extra. They could spend their mana here making the token, thinking I don't have anything else to do. Okay, they make their token. And now we just have to dodge a hate piece. They have Grove, that could give us a life. I could really use a life right now. They could Kozilek's command again. Nope, they just Flesh Raker. Okay. What else are they doing? They Damping Sphere, but I can pay for it now. That doesn't matter as much. It only makes living and cost one more, and I already have that. What's their graveyard? Yeah, nothing. This is fantastic. Oh, that went so well. Break the foundation even. You know what's funny? I can Foundation Breaker. Is there a reason for that? No. There's no reason to Foundation Breaker now. I can save it for next turn. Graveyard. Finally some good luck. Cast Living End. Hopefully our opponent cannot combo. They drew a land. Because I think they missed some land drops this game. We have exactly 20 in play, so one blocker buys them a turn, and our opponent has lost connection. I don't know if that's a rage quit. All right, the opponent either rage quit or disconnected. We're 4-2. All right, round number 7, and I finally won another die roll. And that's got 2 lands and a force and a subtlety, so I'll keep, even though it has Living End in it. I think we want to lead on Hedge Maze. That way if I draw a Waker next turn, I can use it. That's also a 3rd land. I'll begrudgingly keep that. Flooded Strand. What do they get? Watery Grave. All right. Thoughtseize. They can take our land. From their perspective, that might leave us on 1 land. I wonder what variety of Thoughtseize deck. Is this just a blue-black frog deck? Is this some sort of Goryo's Vengeance? I think those are the 2 main options. If they're playing Thoughtseize, that makes me think it might be more of a combo deck. Just go ahead and play the Boseiju. Not totally sure what I need yet. I will Subtlety a Frog. Okay, well. They took our land, by the way, so they were hoping to mana heck us. Now I think you have to take Shardless Agent. Yeah, if I draw another land, that could get bad. Opponent's on 13 already. Another Watery Grave, but they don't spend the life. Go ahead and cycle. Endurance is a good draw against them. Now I just want to land. They have 3 cards in their graveyard. That matters. Well, now we're just stuck in top deck heck until we draw another land. Taking the Sink into Stupor does work out for them. I'm just going to do whatever I can to keep this frog at bay. With these decks, like, you're very strong early game if you can sneak a quick Living End down, and you're very strong late game, but where you're weak is in the middle of the game if they start hitting you with Psychic Frog, turns like 4, 5, 6, 7, and they just stay in front of you and never give you a chance to catch back up. So just deal with Psychic Frog however you can. Land would be great. Street Wraith could be a land. I'm going to start with this Endurance. That looks insane, but hear me out. If they have Force of Negation, they're going to get our living in no matter what. If I stick this Endurance, that encourages them to tap lands next turn. If they don't do anything, then I just start to get hitting them with Endurance. And this has the upside of not allowing them to cast an Oculus or what's it called, Murktide Regent next turn. So that's my theory on why you want to use your Endurance's main phase sometimes against these blue-black players. Going to get Hollowed Fountain, pay the life, and cast Endurance. Roast me for this if it goes wrong, but I think this is a valid play. The other valid play is just jam Ardent Plea and hope they have nothing. But this deck could easily be playing Spell Pierce. It could be playing Consign. It could be playing... Yeah, see, they could have loaded up their graveyard and had enough stuff in it. So now if they do something like spend mana, get below counterspell mana, hopefully. Well, that stinks. Now they can Oculus or what's it called? Murktide Regent. I keep forgetting what Murktide Regent's called. Now they can do that anyway, and they still have force, but they had to have Thought Sour, Thought Scour. There's a player at my store who plays a very similar deck to this, but he insists on playing Preordain instead of Thought Scour, and I keep telling him Thought Scour is the way. All right. This looks like a Murktide. Okay, now they straight up just have to have Force of Negation. I should have attacked there. But if this gets forced, I have a blocker. But I definitely should have attacked there. Because this wasn't going to kill me. Yeah, there's the force. Okay, at least I have a blocker. Down to one card in hand, except we only have two, and one of them living in. So that was only a bad play if they drew that force negation. We'll never know. I think I made the right play. I think I'm going to let this Murktide hit me. But if I let it hit me, then next turn they could kill me with the removal spell. How are they paying life? They're dismembering? Yeah, okay. Dismember. If I don't draw another Cascade here, I'll just Endurance again. I'm doing that over the Aven because even if I Avened into a Cascade spell, I couldn't cast it. Now it can block, although it does grow their Murktide. And I want to point out, when our opponent had Thought Scour, there's no card selection with Thought Scour. Cycle, okay. I mean, I guess. Here goes nuttin'. Do we done it? They cycle Unearth. They're looking for force. All right, we got there. That felt like a total steal. I think against them, take out 3 forces for 3 mysticals, 2 Teferis for Waker. I'm going to take out an Ardent Plea. Do I want Clarion to shut off Frog? I don't think that's that good. And the reason I don't think that's that good is they showed us that they are playing Thought Scour, which makes me think they're also playing Oculus. They do play things like Nile Spellbomb, but I just don't think that that's necessary. I'll bring in Commandeer. I'll keep 1 Force of Negation in the deck. Commandeer's just Force of Negation I can use on my turn. There's Press the Enemy. This hand sucks, but I'm going to keep it because our opponent is a Thoughtseize deck, and it is a 9-card hand. Yep, and now they pretty much have to take the Cascade spell. And Press the Enemy's not dead against them. It could just be a bounce spell for a Murktide regen or something. I will look for a better land. Alright, I'm going to leave up this island to make them think that I drew, what's it called, Mystical Dispute. I say what's it called a lot, sorry guys. And gals. And any third option that might be watching. Alright, they play tap land. And Thoughtseize, again, you can take any of these cards. I would prefer to have Endurance, but I don't think Thoughtseize is really that good in Modern, because they're not closing the game out quickly. I will go get a Surveil land. Hedge Maze. Endurance was a pretty good draw. So usually, I mean, this is the matchup I want Mistrise. But they could just, like, run us over here pretty quick. I'll put it on top. If they don't pressure us soon, then I'm going to be happy to have that Mistrise. If they do start pressuring us, it's kind of bad. Thoughtseize, Marsh Fletch, Fatal Push. No, they get our Endurance. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have kept Mistrise because they're using Thoughtseize as counterspell in this matchup. What'd they take? Oh, they took Press the Enemy. Okay. Do you like playing against Endurance? It seems that you do. And for the same reason that I discussed, I'm going to get this in under Counterspell mana. See, they could consign, yeah, but I mean, okay, you just used to consign on an Endurance trigger. And now they can Murktide, but they don't have it. I mean, why would you consign an Endurance trigger if you don't have Murktide? No need to show the Mistrise yet. There's no need to do anything. They cycle Unearth. There's no targets for it. Our opponent is in the 4-2 bracket, but I kind of wonder if I don't know the contents of their hand, but I don't know. That didn't seem correct to me. But I know what's in my hand and they don't. All right. And they could just have another consign. That's something I'm not really thinking about. They could just have more consigns than they know what to do with. All right, what card do I want? I definitely want to surveil. I have blue, blue, green. I'm gonna have blue. Let's go get blue anyway, because it's the best color. And Mysterized Village requires a lot of blue. Bin that. Now this time I'm definitely not attacking. So the way you do this is you hold control. Cast that, and then activate. And that's why you need a lot of blue. Because 2 of your blue lands are spoken for when you do that. So they could still counter with Consign to Memory. Yeah, okay, they have another Consign to Memory. Now it makes sense. We will not be attacking. We successfully did nothing with that Mysterized Village that we kept on top. I'm gonna take it. I don't think I need to get rid of my Endurance yet. I don't think there's like a Delve spell that could flash. Yeah, if they had Murderous Cut, they could have put us to 1, but they would have done that before attacking. There's Oculus. I can't do anything, so now I just need... Well, I can chump with the Subtlety for a turn. I need Turtle here, or I need a Cascade spell, or Teferi. That's not those things. Once again, well, now I'll send. Because screw it. I'm either winning or losing right now. I mean, this could be like a really boss creature, but I don't know. This could be like a Bowmasters, which might get rough. I don't know. We're just all in on the Charlotte's Agent doing its thing. Okay. Does opponent Rage Scoop? Yes. All right. 5 and 2. I get my hopes up real good. See you guys in round 8. Yeah, round 8. Round number 8. I've lost another die roll. This is a 1-lander. And I get 1, 2, 3, 4 looks at a second land, but then even then I don't have anything to do. But then again, I've got Subtleties, I've got Endurance. If this is like a Amulet Titan player, I could maybe do something. Gosh. I'm gonna mulligan. That's better. I'll keep. Put back Living in. Done. Still have Force of Negation too. Black, white. Okay. Oh, nice. Maybe it's just energy. Alright, so the jig is immediately up. Our opponent knows what they need to do, and they're on the play, which means they get to spend 6 mana before we cascade. More, actually, because of Ragavan. And if they have something like Blood Moon here, at least we have Force of Negation. I mean, this is the matchup we want to see. We definitely don't want to see any Eldrazi, Eldrazi lands on the other side. No, we cannot beat that, typically. At least it was not a Johnny. Opponent has Ocelot Pride, that's alright. Okay, pretty good draw there. So we've got the Cascade next turn with the good graveyard. I'm a little bit exhausted from all this Magic today. This is the most I've ever played in a day. Usually when you're jamming out leagues, like you can just go game after game after game, but you got to keep checking back to see if your round has started yet when you play these long events. And what is opponent going to do? They spend 2 mana for another Goblin Bombardment. I will get Basic Forced out of my deck. Well, actually, no. Yeah, pay the 2. I should have got Island there, I think. I'll Force Cycle for basic. And then, I mean, I'm not going to Force of Negation, pitching my final blue card, which is also my Cascader, but whatever, I'm going to do this eventually. I don't have extra mana to play with. So they're going to get these creatures back. If they have a Johnny, they can flip it here. It's just Guide of Souls. I mean, that's still really good, but at least it's just Guide of Souls, not a Johnny. So I'm at 8. I'm at 4. That Tree Folk coming back and giving me a food token is going to be nice. What? Okay. And what I mean when I say I'm at 4 is that they can sack their board. Well, I'm at 5, actually. They can sack their board, ping me, and then when these come back, they can sack them again to deal lethal damage. They're looking for Flage. If they find Flage here, that's probably game. Double Goblin Bombardment is a little bit of a beat, but I'm very glad I mulliganed. They get a bunch of energy, too. All these creatures come back at the same time. Okay. They've been a discharge. Yep, they sacrifice everybody. I'm good to F6 this. Hopefully we dodge Flage here. Flage would deal 4, 5, 6, 7 would be lethal. So if I see Flage, I'm good to scoop it up. Okay. Season Pyro is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures. So they only get to discard 1 here, though. They go to 21. Oh boy. Problem is now basically anything that touches me is lethal. One, two, three, four. Yeah, okay. There's lethal. Don't need to go through this. All right. Standard playing against them. And I'll add the wrinkle of Commandeer. Clarion Conqueror does not shut off Goblin Bombardment. They can still activate the ability. All right, does our day come to an end? That's a good hand. I'll keep that. Well, it can't do anything, but it at least cascades. I'll keep it. Opponent is under some pressure when they're on the draw. And if they have something like Orange Chant, this is a great hand against that if that's their hate. Opponent mulligans to 5. That's a good start. I'm going to start with the Misty. And I think I'm actually going to get basic Forest. Reason being, these decks play Blood Moon. Guide of Souls is a good one. Let's see. I've already got untapped lands. Now I'll just get extra Surveils in the case that they exile my graveyard. More Surveils will be good. That's too late, unfortunately. Expedition Flooded Strand. Anybody remember when these things came out? I do. High Noon. A little bit of a bummer. We have ways around that. Oh, my dog. I'm gonna just start digging for answers to that High Noon. Charlotte's Agent is not an answer. Opponent still just has one creature in play. So like Boseiju would be good here. What's in my graveyard? Bounce Spell to Fairy. Maybe I'll just get to hump this Guide of Souls if they attack again. They draw the third land. Oh, the dog has seen the neighbors. Yes, Mifa, be quiet. Pyromancer is a good draw. They're going to get a lot of energy here. And then I can tuck whatever they put in their graveyard. Nice, we get to get a Flage. Dog's going. She's restraining herself. She wants to go crazy. All right, we get a free Guide of Souls. No, we don't, because they can put the counters on it. So it goes to 3/4. They use it. Okay. Never mind. Forgot that card has all those other modes. All right, and it looks like our day might be coming to an end here at the hands of energy. We need to do something about this High Noon quickly. That doesn't really count. I'm actually just going to play a Shardless Agent. I can't cast it. That's okay. I didn't want to. I've got enough Cascade spells here. I just need to buy myself time. So I'm hoping this can kind of block a Seasoned Pyromancer or prevent them from attacking with it. Ocelot Pride. Well, darn. We are like a Boseiju or an Odawara or a Sink into Stupor or Teferi away from popping off here, potentially. Yeah, they get 2 tokens. They gain a lot of life. Okay. Subtlety's not a horrible draw. Also, Press the Enemy would be great. We can bounce the High Noon. What we don't want to see is like Goblin Bombardment. Opponent discharges. And that's... They can only cast one spell per turn. It counts for them too, but they have 2 cards in hand. Yeah, they're just going to send with everything. I agree. Whatever, I'll just maximum block here. Actually, do I want to take out that? I think I'll take out the Seasoned Pyromancer just to prevent damage. They have the City's Blessing, so there's no fixing that. Need to draw Boseiju here. Street Wraith. Alright, looks like our day's coming to an end. Alright. I'm just going to put another Hill Giant in play, or Grave, or whatever this is. I know I can't cast Living Net, that's fine. And then I can actually ambush this Guide of Souls, hopefully. He exiles the Seasoned Pyromancer, gets a lot of energy. Depending on where he wants to put these counters, though, we might be able to get him a little bit. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. And I'm not talking about the country version of that song. I'm talking about the old rap version of that song. Everybody in the club get tipsy. Not the one with the redneck. It's just blatant patent infringement. Okay. Bin his yard just so that he has fewer cards for Flage. That has flying, unfortunately. Okay, we go to 5. Boseiju is still great. Oh, that's right. High Noon just has an ability. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. 6-3 overall, pretty good. Or maybe 5-3, I can't remember. All right, final round. We won the die roll just when it didn't matter. This hand doesn't do anything except have Force of Negation. I'm going to mulligan in the dark. Well, that's even worse. I should have kept the first one. Our opponent's name is BADTRONPLAYER. Well, I'm going to mulligan again. That hand sucks. I'll keep that. Let's see. What do I want? I want land, shardless, land, cycler. And I want that cycler to be curator. So I guess I'll put back these 2. Done. Opponent goes Forest Pass. Okay. Let's use the thing. Okay. We got a lot of blue mana. And I'm guessing a blue deck or a green deck might not have counterspell, but then again it might. Okay, is this the mirror? Okay. I get a land that's not blue exclusively? Right? I feel like a high tide deck or something. What's our opponent doing over there? Going basic forest, basic island, and neither of them are even like. They're both relatively recent basics that are pretty good. These are pretty good basics, but they're still non-full art basics. So I find this dubious. And this is still looking like living in. Our opponent is representing a lot. Namely, may hardcast Endurance with Force of Negation back up. The Living End Mirror is really just a card advantage battle. If they had Endurance, they didn't play it. Now they have Subtlety. Oh, you know what? I think this might be Neoform. It's either the Living End Mirror or it's like Neoform or it's that Simic mid-range deck that's been going around. Alright, well now I have all the lands I could ever need. As long as you only ever need 4. But I think the what's it called? The Neoform deck? They would have done something by now, like play some like card filtering spells. Yeah, it's Neoform. Okay, this is a good hand against Neoform. Well, we don't want them to do that now, do we? Although I could let this resolve and then try to Force of Negation the follow-up play. But then that's bad versus Pact. Because they can pay for a Pact. This is kind of like a bad Tron deck. Okay. Another Shepherd. What do they exile? Alright. If their last 2 cards are Neoform, Pact of Negation, we probably lose. They do get their Shepherd back when I Living End. Unless I draw an Endurance here. And I am curious, I want to try this matchup with Inevitable Betrayal, which I haven't gotten to try yet. With 1 card left in hand, they consign to memory. Okay. Last turn I could have used Mistrise Village, by the way. That was a little bit bad of me. But now we get to attack for 2. Alright. I'm going to keep this card in hand just to be threatening. And I'll make up for that Mistrise activation that I missed. Just kidding. Alright. There's a good one. Do I want to bring in Commandeer for Neoform? Yeah. So they sack, and then I get the resolve. Whether or not the spell resolves have nothing to do if you're the player who cast it. And it doesn't say if you cast it or if you sack the creature. That's just an additional casting cost, which they're going to pay. Yeah, I think I will bring in Commandeer. There's Simonor's Pact. Can't do anything. Hooting Mandrills. And they're just going to cast the monkey. One of the best monkeys in Magic. Actually, it's an ape. The Eldritch Evolution, yeah. What do they got? There's the Grizzledad. They draw 7. Bounce spell would be pretty good. Although they can probably they've just restarted the game with 6 lands in play, so I'm pretty boned here. Yeah, I've seen enough. Alright. That kind of stunk. Do I want to bury? Yes. They don't play any artifacts or enchantments. No? No, honey. I'll mystical commandeer, and I'm just going down on graveyard. I don't think endurance matters. No, endurance doesn't matter. Like, the Hooting Mandrills was such a low percent play. A low percent of games where they do that, I mean. That I'm not going to worry too much about their graveyard. Yes, I will play first. Will I keep this hand that has no Cascade spells and no counter magic? No, I will not. Shh. I will keep this one. I've got the quads. It's funny, that's not even the first time I've seen all 4 curators in the same hand. It happened to me in paper against a burn when I mulled to 3, and I still won. Alright. Hopefully we hit a land. Yeah, count it. The reason I don't want to play Sink into Stupor, not that it deals 3 damage, but it's because it's a blue card that I could have in my deck for later. Go ahead and Cyclay. Alright. Not the worst. Generous In's even better. Let's go get green-white for next turn. But I'm going to play the blue land now. You know what stinks is I think this is actually a good matchup, and losing that game because I had to mold a 5 is just very unlucky. Yes. All right. So relevant that I went to 14. If I get Grizzlebrand this turn, I can only dig once, but I still think that's better. They consign. Okay. And now they have to go off. I still think that's better than Atraxa, though, because it just gets 7 cards. Whereas Atraxa, on a bad hit, Atraxa might get like 3. We might select a bunch of lands or a bunch of creatures. Alright, hopefully they don't have us. They're not incentivized to wait. So it looks like they just don't have anything yet. Or they don't have everything, I mean. They probably still have something. We'll see what I leave on top here, because on top of library. Okay, so if I were to, I think I'm going to leave that on top and plan to draw it. I can take a turn off. Because if they go for a combo that requires them, they could ambush me here with Endurance, that's fine. If they go for a combo, that's a lot of cards out of their hand, and then I can Cascade again next turn. And I can disrupt basically their combo with Commandeer. They must resolve a non-creature spell. Alright, and now I get to go off with Commandeer backup. And I can even Commandeer a Pact and pay for it. Don't need that. I don't have anything with haste. They don't have anything with haste, I mean, so I'm just going to attack. I mean, they do, I think, but I'd rather. Yeah, maybe like a Galta with haste. I don't know. Would that have killed them? Do I fight over like a counter spell here? They could just have another one. So I'm not gonna fight over this. They still can't combo as long as I have Commandeer and 2 blue cards. And this is a 4-turn clock. They got to do something. Opponents defeated 2 Cascades so far. They play a land. Is that the last resource they need? No, it's not. Wonder what their hand is. Alright, Subtlety is a good draw. Subtlety is a great draw. They have to start with the Allosaurus Shepherd or a Hooting Mandrills. And Subtlety is great. This matchup's fun. It's kind of like Belcher, that your opponent's just trying to stockpile up resources and do one thing and you got to fight through it, but we can fight through it because we actually have a lot of disruptive and counter spells and stuff. It's a fun matchup. I'd much rather play this than Eldrazi. Alright, what they doing over there? They going for those mandrills? They are. I'm going to cast Subtlety. Because I have Commandeer backup. Although I'm not going to fight over this Subtlety if they have like a counter spell for it. I'm going to fight over the thing that kills me. Although Hooting Mandrills could kill me. It is a 4/4 trample. Alright. That might have been a bait Mandrill since it only cost 1 mana. Now that Subtlety's resolve, I have an attacker that goes over it. Sure. I'm not going to fight over this. I can't anyway. Alright, they have a 4/4. If I draw a blue card, I can bounce it safely. Relatively safely. Land isn't the worst. That gets me closer to hardcast. And it's still a 2-turn clock. I don't think there's... Alright, well, here's the problem. I only have 1, 2, 3 blue. So if I had another blue mana, I could sink into Stupor here. But I only have 1 blue mana. Or I only have 3 blue mana. So Commandeer is a better disruptive spell, most likely, than a Sink into Stupor is. There's Neoform. Alright. I mean, if they get this, they get Grizzlebrand. I wish I had another blue mana, because that way I have 2 counter spells. But I don't. I can pay for a Mystical Dispute. Hooting Mandrills was... So Veil of Summer doesn't stop his spell from being countered. He just drew a card with it. That's all it did. Because I'm not countering your spell. I'm gaining control of it. Okay. So now it's my spell. And I can actually go get Turtle. Yeah, Hootie Mandrills cost 6. Turtle costs 7. I like turtles. Okay. The blue card count is really important. As we saw, there is value in getting rid of his graveyard. But I think it's low value. Yeah, I like this configuration. Hopefully we can keep a 7 here. That's good. It's got mystical and force of negation. And lands. And our singleton endurance. And no inevitable betrayals too. What's interesting about that last game is we actually could have just taken all of the combo out of our deck and just played mid-range. I wouldn't advise it, but it worked. I've done that a handful of times, and it's actually pretty fun. Not against this matchup, though. The upside of getting a Grizzlebrand or an Atraxa is super appealing. Unlike me to women. Okay. Use the... Actually, I just played the lane to pass. Endurance next turn isn't bad. They only play one Hootie Mandrills, though, I'm almost certain. And it's just in those decks. It's just in their deck to be a pack target for weird games. And then they just happen to draw it game 2. Okay, opponent continues to play hedge mazes. That's a lot of hedge mazes. Do they say anything? They say good to know. Okay, I don't think they care. What are they doing over there? There's a Hooter. Alright, it can resolve. I can't do anything about this, but I can just go off next turn. They can't pay for... I get Temple Garden. They cannot pay for, Pact of Negation, so they have to have Consigned to Memory here. Unfortunately, neither of these cards were blue. I don't think there's a point there where I could have or should have fired off. Yes. An Endurance. I don't think it was even a possibility. They can't kill me next turn, most likely. Hopefully no Spell Pierce. Darn, they have Veil of Summer. It's basically Spell Pierce. Okay. Well, I at least can chump block for a turn. That's not much of a consolation. Alright, we need to top deck Cascader. This puts me to 7, and then next turn this might be bigger, so I think there's actually more value in letting the Shardless Agent live for now. I could draw a turtle and bounce it. Opponent's on 2 cards. Boom. Oh, I should have waited. Darn it, that's twice I've missed out on an Ardent Plea trigger. Man, I really took a risk here. Why did I attack? I attacked because I assume this is resolving. I need white. I don't have Commandeer, and I'm being very cavalier. All right, I decided to end the game a turn early by not leaving back a chump blocker against a lethal board state, but it resolved. All right. Do I have anything here that wins? No, I already attacked. Darn it. All right, what do they have in their deck? I kind of like Grizzlebrand better because it gets so many more cards, and I won't have to discard the hand size. The problem with Grizzlebrand is they could just bounce it. Do they have a bounce spell in their deck? No, they don't have any bounce spells. So I'm gonna take a risk and get the Grizzlebrand. I have Force of Negation. Oh crap, I forgot I'm at 7 life. Oh, you ever see that Simpsons where the guy says, "Oh crap, I forgot I was at 7 life." Oh, he still doesn't have any bounce spells though. I hope. No tax. Yeah, Traxa might have been better there. Okay, that's all right. That's much better. Now, since I untapped Andrew the Turtle, I felt pretty safe. But all right, we finished 6-3. Hope you guys had fun. If anyone's still watching, comment I'm a total sicko, and I will give you a prize in the comments.